All right, so the story I bring you this week is another story based out of Iowa. Very much like the James Delaney story, this story, not only does the person go missing, but their car goes missing as well. So stay tuned for that. Before we jump into that, though, I just wanted to tell you I'm your host, Tim Solberg. If you like my content, hit that subscribe button down below, okay? If you like it, hit that like button down below. If for some reason we're not living up to your standards or expectations, leave me a comment. We do work hard at trying to bring you the best content possible, and we're going to continue to grow this channel. We want to make adjustments, whether that's the audio video delays, whether that's the wall back behind me, changing colors of that, and we'll add some graphics as we go as well. We're going to add some sound barriers that are going to come up, take a little bit of that echo out, and then we'll work on some lighting in the future as well. So lots of work to be done, and we're going to continue to work on that based off your feedback. Jumping right back into the story, this week, I am going to bring you Harry Dennis Milligan. Now, Harry Dennis Milligan was essentially in the Marine Corps. He was 21 years old when he went missing. The last time he was seen was July 1st. In 1984. And it is presumed that the last time he was seen was between 3 and 3:30 a.m. after going out on the town with his friends. Now, at some point, his friends had driven him from the bar to his car, which was a 1977 maroon Grand Prix, and he had gotten into his car. And there is witnesses that said they saw him driving down Main Street right around that time, but he had never made it back to the family home. Okay, so very interesting. So let's hit some facts first, just so we can kind of rewind this back a little bit. So who is Harry Dennis Milligan? Well, we know that he was a young lad, 21 years old at the time of his disappearance. He had also been in the Marine Corps for a few years. So that would tell me, that he probably carries himself very well. Now, he was 6'1", 160 pounds, so he wasn't super heavy, but pretty tall in nature, and I would say that would classify him as, pretty big gentleman, right? Above average, maybe a little bit skinny, but you would think he was probably pretty lean and mean coming out of the Marine Corps, right? So just some things to think about. What was he doing that night? What had happened? There's nothing really that states that anything happened at the bar or any arguments happened or anything like that. So we don't think anything eventful really happened. And we do know that his friends drop him off and he goes to his car. And it is said that there's some witnesses that's seen him drive afterwards. So we hit that, right? What's interesting for me is that he disappears, but so does his car disappear. Now, what could have happened at 3 a.m. or 3:30 in the morning that would have made that happen, right? Think back for just a second and think of how small this town is. And I'll put up some of the population numbers right here in video and just a quick picture of the downtown. You could tell it's not a very big town, right? And that would tell me that there's not somebody that's just waiting around for something to happen while they're in this town. It's not like being in the city where you're just going to have random people from other parts of the city that, might be deviates or whatever the case might be, waiting for him after the bar, waiting for him at his car. Is it possible? It is. I think it's much more sinister than that. It could be something or someone that he knew, or he stopped somewhere, or maybe it was an ex-girlfriend, whatever that case might be. We just don't have any evidence and or anything in the police reports that say any of this, right? So this is all speculation. This is just me ad-libbing and me coming at you with an opinion. I will say a couple of notables that had happened was his brother Mark is a police sergeant in Ottumwa, which is not super far away. And Mark has come out and stated that, hey, there's been a lot of rumors that have come out over the years of what happened to his brother. And quite frankly, he is tired of hearing them because most of the time, nothing comes out of it. Now, do keep in mind, typically in small towns like this, you are going to hear a lot of rumors. The rumor mill gets going. People start using their imaginations, much like I just did a minute ago. And then that becomes fact for a lot of people, especially people that might not be using their imagination to figure out what really happened to Harry Milligan, right? So over that period of time, Mark has had to hear all of these different stories. Now, over the years, because this happened 30 plus years ago, a lot of things have changed, right? A big thing that changed was social media, and Mark kind of hit this. They put it back out onto social media just to see, did anybody hear or see anything on the night of his disappearance, and nothing has come back. Now, again, a lot of rumors, which can be frustrating, and they try to keep this case alive. They have an event that brings people in, and just in the memory of Harry Milligan. So it's not like something is just kind of disappearing or going away. Mark is keeping this going, but he is getting frustrated with the rumors, which, in a small town, I definitely would as well. Now, a couple other notable things that had happened that I think is noteworthy. So first one is that the town issued a ticket 17 days after his disappearance. So it says that his car, his 1977 Pontiac Grand Prix Maroon, was pulled over and issued a citation. I'm going to put that up on the screen just so you can kind of see where I'm coming from with this. So what had happened in those 16 days? So he had disappeared and then he got a ticket. Maybe they got a ticket on June 16th and the police officer just had a typo. Doesn't say that in there, but is that a possibility? Yes. Especially back in 1984 when everything was paper, you would write it out. You'd have to bring it to the courthouse. Courthouse would have to fill everything out, so on and so forth. And I think I even got that wrong, right? The police would bring it back to the police station and then the police station would forward it on to the courthouse once all the clerical stuff was fixed. But still a very interesting point. Another interesting point that I want to highlight is that there was other people that were missing at the time as well. Now, keep in mind, I don't think that they're tied. So 2 paper boys in Des Moines went missing. Very similar case to each other, but not similar to the one with Harry Milligan. But it does kind of make it interesting because that's 3 missing people that have never been found to this day in the same year, kind of in and around the same locations, right? Were they tied? They weren't tied. The reason why I bring it up, though, is because they had a massive search during a duck/quail hunt where 20,000 people were a part of it. Now, keep in mind, it was part of 2 events, but it definitely kind of put feet on the ground just to look for anything that appeared. Now, I'm going to leave you with this because I think this is important facts. The reason why I brought you this case was because not only does the person disappear, but their car disappears as well. How does that happen? Right? Like a car just can't disappear. You could bury it, you could burn it, you could put it in the water, whatever that case might be. But just keep in mind, unless it's burnt to a crisp, and even so, it has to be very hot for a car to just disintegrate or disappear, right? To the point where you can't get any VIN numbers off of it. So that would lead me to believe it would have to have been buried or it had to have been crushed or whatever the case might be. But somebody knows what happened to that car, even if they don't know what happened to Harry Milligan. Maybe the car's sitting on a farm somewhere. Maybe the car was sold, right? Back in those days, it was just a pink slip. It's not quite as intuitive as it is today. I don't know. But again, it's just weird that a car would go disappear with a person and nobody would know what happened, right? That kind of sounds like some alien type stuff, right? But that somebody knows what the answer is to this. And that's what makes these cases so interesting. It's the fact that large things are disappearing with the people, and it's not just the person that disappeared. And there's no story prior to it. Like there was nothing that's out there that says, hey, somebody didn't like Harry Milligan. And keep in mind, his brother is now a sergeant, right, with the police force in Ottumwa. So if he did know something, of course he's going to investigate it. And of course he's going to look at people that are in that town. And he hasn't, and he doesn't have an explanation either. And he has stated that he's very close to Harry, or at least he was when Harry was still alive. So very interesting facts. I do want to hear from you folks. If there's anything else that you've researched that I missed in this story, and or if there's any missing people you would like me to cover, we are going to continue with the Vanish series. Again, I'm going to do some live stream for some of the stuff that's going on currently for the folks that really like that true crime and being current in the moment. But I really feel strongly about trying to go after some of these cold cases, especially people that vanish. They can often be forgotten. And if we can continue to do 1 or 2 of those a week, I think that it's feel good and really good for the community. So again, I'm your host, Tim Sahlberg, and I hope that everybody has a wonderful week. Check my video out that's coming up this Sunday. And with that, I'm over and out.